Top story on ABC News Breakfast. The Murray-Darling Basin Authority has released its long-awaited draft plan to save the river system. It proposes to cut water use by 2,750 gigalitres a year, short of the 3,000 to 4,000 gigalitres originally suggested.
The savings will be made through voluntary water buybacks and improvements to infrastructure, and will be phased in over 7 years. Irrigators are warning the plan will destroy local communities, but the Greens say it's not enough to save the river system.
For more, Melissa Clark joins us now from Canberra. Melissa, good morning. We know that the guide to the draft plan caused so much controversy last year. What is new or different in this draft plan released today?
Well, that headline figure of how much water needs to be brought back into environmental flows is 2,750 gigalitres a year, as you said, which of course is lower than what had previously been specified at 3,000 to 4,000 as a bracket figure. However, this new lower figure is using 2009 as a baseline, so that doesn't include around or close to 1,000 gigalitres a year worth of savings that had already been made in the run up to 2009 and had been in that previous figure. So if you add that 1,000 gigalitres to the 2,750 that they're now proposing from 2009 onwards, you actually get back into that 3,000 to 4,000 bracket range that was originally proposed in the first draft plan. So that's something that's on scale. But what we also have is some indication that even though they're looking at 2,750 gigalitres a year now, some of all that has already been recovered since 2009. Another 200 odd gigalitres a year has already been announced through initiatives that are yet to come on stream but have already been planned for. So in the whole, what we have from this draft plan is the Murray-Darling Basin Authority looking for around 1,468 gigalitres a year.
And Melissa, what do we get in terms of specifics, if any, about where the savings should be made, in what communities and which irrigation areas?
Well, it's a little bit more vague than what we had in the past, because some of the water buybacks and irrigation savings that need to be made aren't specified to particular catchments. What we have is, on the whole, we have the Murray-Darling Basin Authority's draft plan saying that in the northern areas, in the northern basins, we're talking about the Barwon and the Darling, that they want to save 143 gigalitres a year, but in the southern basin, in the Murray, they're talking about 971 gigalitres a year. So much more coming from the south than from the north. Now, some catchments have specified amounts that come back. So when it comes to, say, the Victorian parts of the Murray River, they're talking 253 gigalitres a year. When it's the Murrumbidgee, it's 320 gigalitres a year. When it comes to the South Australian Murray, more than 600 gigalitres a year. But a lot more of it is unspecified as to it just has to come from either the north or the south and not from where. So there is still some level of uncertainty for some of those communities as to precisely how much water is expected to come from their areas.
And Melissa, we'd expect that irrigators and farmers would be unhappy about that uncertainty, perhaps not unhappy about the reduced target, but I guess a lot of them will still be arguing that there'll be a strong local impact and there will be job losses.
There's certainly concern that even the overall figure of 2,750 gigalitres across the basin is too high. The uncertainty is still an element that concerns many, because that doesn't give them answers on what sort of social and economic impacts there might be on local townships, and they're wanting that information. And there's also concern that it draws more heavily on the southern areas than the northern areas of the basin. But there is a fair bit of wriggle room built into this plan. The Murray-Darling Basin Authority is now, of course, about to start a 20-week consultation, and the draft plan itself is littered with references to the 2015 review. So in a couple of years, a review of all these catchment targets, and even the overall target, can be reviewed and either increased or perhaps, more to some concerns, decreased if they get new information or if circumstances change. So they're certainly trying to make it clear to irrigators and local communities that nothing is set in stone quite yet.
Yes, and we expect to hear from all the players affected both today and in the weeks and months to come. Melissa Clark in Canberra, thank you.